We've been talking about stress lately, but we're gonna continue to tap in on it because stress a beast, man. And if you don't have a strategic plan on how to deal with your stress, it's gonna eat you up every time. It's gonna eat you up from the inside out, you know. So especially for my brothers, man, and I don't want to disregard the sisters either. There was this movie with Taraji P Henson in it, and they had her playing a role where her daughter had died, and she pretty much lost her mind. And I believe really this is what a lot of what we go through in the black community, just to be real with you, because we not really living, we surviving. And even sometimes when we get the things and the different benefits of what it is to live, we still end up surviving because a lot of things just be too real to be true. Um, my name is Amar, and my brand is called Diadem Crown Thinking. My goal is to help you grow. My goal is to help you evolve, and my goal is to help you expand yourself into greater spaces. I believe that what we talking about here can really help you out. To be honest with you, because truthfully, it don't really matter what age you are. Everybody gonna go with some type of stressful situation, have some type of stressful situation that pop up in their lives. The problem is, the problem is not that the stress gonna pop up. The problem directly is we don't know how to deal with the stress. And truth be told, sometimes dealing with the stress, it's not nothing that you can do to make it leave. That's the thing. You can either do the work that's gonna help you not react or act out of the stress, or you cannot do nothing at all, which is not helpful when you're dealing with stress because it's just gonna keep the stressful situation going. So what do we do? Because when I try to do something to fix it, it's not fixed. It seems like everything is working against me. When I try to not do something because I'm just letting the situation pass through and I'm just going through my season, what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna make it. Where everybody always tell you that. Even I found it that in those hard situations, when people tell me that, I will find in some situations it will actually make me frustrated in reality. Not that I didn't appreciate a person speaking into me or giving me the advice or trying to speak that positive word into something that they may feel like is detrimental or hurting me or could pull me down from what they're used to. But I got that a lot, whether that was from me sharing situations. This has been my whole life. I mean, everybody deals with stressful situations, but going through situations really teach you the vulnerability that hardships put you through. And it gives you a different angle on how to even approach it, only specifically because you remember remarkably what it feels like. You remember remarkably what you had to go through. So I want to touch on that. Of course, I'm a male, and a lot of times, us men, we have the same processing that other men go through, and some maybe not the same as other men. Some people may have a different approach, but generally speaking, we all have the same approach, and we all go through the same emotions because we are mostly a part of the same social construct that built up this place. Be strong, you feel me? And women, express your emotions, get it all out because you need to get your point across. No, and then I found that you have to know you. You have to know where you at, because if you don't know where you at, you're gonna end up making mistakes in the name of doing the right thing, right? In the name of processing correctly, you can do wrong with yourself. And I just want to share some tips, some things that I had to do. Well, like I am today, I've been putting this on a few other videos, but I'm sitting in nature. Sitting in nature helped me out a lot because it made me slow down. I was able to separate from the noise. I was able to separate from the competition of being a regular person, the competition of being at a place where I can have a peace of mind. This situation ain't ruling me. This situation not overcoming me because I am a regular person and I'm strong as a man. You feel me? But that ain't always wise, my guy. You know what I'm saying? And even my sisters, we do that too. The sisters do that too. I've seen women in my life who had hard responsibilities and tough situations that they had to deal with, and they had to be in a certain state of mind. You know what I'm saying? But dealing with stress You gotta be careful because stress, it'll take you down in areas you won't even be paying attention that it's taking you down in. So again, like I said, get into some places in nature, sit by some water, listen to the birds chirp early in the morning, quiet your mind. All right. Number two, give yourself the opportunity to go to other spaces and be intentional. And these other spaces that I'm talking about is reading books. Reading books, even if that book separates you from the reality of what you're specifically dealing with at the moment and gives you a new reality to be in mind. Now, I'm not talking about immaturely doing this because you can try to separate from a reality and you start being negligent and not giving any attention to whatever deficit or wound you're dealing with. I am not saying do that, but I'm saying, for instance, I started focusing on my success, how I can grow through this. I started painting out pictures of this is what I'm dealing with through being able to live in another reality while I'm thinking about the future me. I'm thinking about me a year from now, me 2 years from now, my accomplishments and my goals. Now, while it can become a blurred line, you have to be aware of what you're doing when you're doing that. But just make sure you giving your mind the space to separate from whatever it is that you're dealing with. It's sort of like an argument. If you arguing with somebody, you don't have the fuel to continue to go and go and go and go. Eventually, you will become overwhelmed because you're putting so much energy into that situation. You feel me? So that's what I'm on. I'm on at this time period. I'm reading books. I'm working out. I'm getting my body right because at least something that can be in my control is flourishing. So the least I can do is hit the gym. I can go work out. I can get me a workout plan that I stick with throughout this process. That's gonna be important. You know what I'm saying? Because usually when you're going through a stressful situation, it's something that you feel like you can't change. Working out gives you an opportunity to change something. Eating healthy gives you an opportunity to change something. Everything seems like it's not in your control. Now, be okay with things not being in your control too. I do understand that because me, I believe in the creator and I believe divinely he allows us to go through situations. He gives us the autonomy to make decisions and suffer the consequences and have repercussions, whether they be positive or negative. Regardless, he gives you the opportunity to experience that. That's us being created in his image and having his likeness by making a decision and getting that response back. Now he always want us to do it in the way he want us to do it, but at the end of the day, it just work out like that. You're gonna have negative responses to positive acts. You're gonna have positive acts sometime from negative responses, and that's just how the world is set up. But eventually, it'll catch up with you. You know, but regardless, like I said, make sure y'all putting some time into building yourself, man. Learn things that you didn't learn. Put yourself in spaces and environments. I started going places I normally wouldn't go, right? I found me some new trails to jog on. Just being able to do that and listen to music while I'm jogging and pushing myself. I would recommend every brother to do that. I personally believe, every man should have it as his moral and his ethic to keep his body fit because your body is your vehicle. That's the only vehicle you're getting. You feel me? And the only tune up, the only replacements you can get is if you go under a knife or if you go through some type of surgery, or you can do it the easy way. You can just make the investment into yourself and you're going to be straight. And like I said, find your core group. Now, recently I touched on a core group, what that is. A core group is not 10 people. A core group is not 15, 20 people, or every person you come across, you sharing every detail down to the bone of what you're dealing with. You want to find people that you can trust. Even if you have to hire a counselor to speak with you about your issue so you can regulate your emotions. Because if your emotions are not regulated, you're going to react and act out of those emotions and stress that you feel, and you're going to be in a bad position. You don't want to be in that spot, man. You don't want to be in that spot because your brain, think about the visions and the thoughts you have about stressful situations. It goes far. It goes really far. So you don't want to be a victim to your bad decisions. It's your brothers Amara Diadem Crown Thinker. Y'all tap in with me. Shalom.